good evening. It's an interesting. I hope you can hear me okay. I just realised I'm on my own and I can't hear myself. Wait there. I hope everyone's good. Wait there. My webcam's on. Can you hear me okay? I hope you can. What an interesting day it has been. The old social medias have been a wee bit scary today, to be honest with you. I've an awful bother with this microphone now. Right, hopefully you can hear me now. If you can, let me know. And we will get started loud and clear. Nice one. Good, good, good. I just thought, well, I put up a wee post in the community page earlier. Obviously, the news that is dominating right now is Ange potentially going to Tottenham. His price has dropped. I'm going to bring up some of you guys' comments in the live chat. We're just going to do it for 20 minutes. I'm going to watch the Europa League final. But I just think it's just been such a strange day where it really has had vibes today. I've got to be honest to what it did when you realised the day before Brendan was going to be announced at Leicester. That's what was happening. Now, I'm not saying that means it definitely is happening. I just mean it gathered pace the day before Rodgers was going that he was going at this same sort of trajectory, and it kind of gives you a fright. And at that point in time, I didn't have a bus to just jump on and share sort of some of my thoughts and more importantly, you guys' thoughts, because Twitter seems to be very much split. I'm going to go through the comments of the community page that were left this afternoon and earlier this evening. It's been funny. Do bear in mind as well, just before we get kicked off, we are proudly sponsored by ED Pharmacy. For all your erectile dysfunction needs, head over to edpharmacy.co.uk where you can stay up all night long. Remember as well, they do Central Scotland delivery, same day delivery in areas in Central Scotland, and they take orders up till 6 p.m. next day delivery for all other places. Use the code BUS10 at the checkout, and you get a wee 10% discount as well if you want to feel a wee bit Lionel Richie. Right, anyway, let's get into it, because I put up a wee post. What's everyone's thoughts earlier on about the rumours? They seem to be growing then. Now, Patrick McLaughlin's in the live chat, just so we've got sort of real time. This was 6 hours ago I posted that. And Patrick's now saying, I'd seen the price had dropped, Patrick, earlier. You're saying the Bet365 of Ange Evans favourite now. If that price goes to 4 to 6 or 4 to 7, we've had it. The bookies don't get it wrong often. Yeah, so as I was saying earlier, it does feel like, if I'm honest, the odds have slashed today. I think there's two ways of thinking here, and I want to explain where I'm at on it, and then I will obviously go through what you guys' brilliant comments are saying, because from my point of view, I was probably like what a lot of people were with Rodgers all those years ago. When was it he left? 4 or 5 years ago? 5? And I just could not see him. I could not see him doing it. I had swallowed all the hysterical stuff he'd said about being, such a big Celtic fan. He'd released an autobiography through the channels, and it really did feel like, he couldn't have said all that and then go. To be fair to Ange, I think he's only ever been pretty matter of fact and honest about where he stands in football management now, and what his relationship with Celtic is like. He's said before, I remember watching the interview, I can't kid on, I'm a Celtic fan like the rest, sort of thing. But he's obviously very appreciative of the opportunity, and he's loved his time with us. And that doesn't mean it's coming to an end either. But I think I'm in a place where, after the Rodgers thing 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever it was, I definitely now am in a place where I'm more realistic than what I was 4 or 5 years ago. Comes with age as well. And I think back then I just could not see any way he would leave us, particularly becoming the first ever manager to leave Celtic midway through a season and things. And then, that story gathered pace that day before, and then he was gone. Now we're in a situation where the rumours are growing fast, and some And it's absolutely their gift to think whatever they want, by the way. It's not for... but I'm very open to the fact he could go. That's what I'm trying to spit out here. I'm very open to the fact that the manager could go. I'm not saying he will, but I'm open and realistic in my way of thinking anyway. And I'm also once bitten, twice as shy type of person. And I think when the Rodgers departure happened, it was such a shock to the system that I'll never feel like that again. Do you know what I mean? So if he gets linked, I'd probably go down the road of, like, if it happens, I'm not going to be caught like, no way. I wonder if there's some fans that think differently. In fact, I don't wonder, I know there is. And I think sometimes people buy into the person too much, or they think they know people inside out from the persona they've only really seen in a football environment, like press conferences where he doesn't want to be there, like in the dugout, or when he's been a bit mischievous end of season speeches. We don't know this guy inside out. Just because he's wrote a book and stuff before that people have read, he's not your jolly old Uncle Ange. I think we need to be honest here. If Postecoglou is offered a chance to speak to Spurs and they like what he says and he likes what they're offering, and that will be funny money, remember, he's only human. I wouldn't hold any grudges against him if any of this were to come to fruition. I think the argument I'm struggling to get on board with is he's just not leaving. But I know some of you have it, so I don't want to be disrespectful, but I do feel that for me that's a wee bit like, just covering your ears, putting a blindfold on and going, la 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 la, like, nothing's happening, nothing to see here. And then you end up having that letdown moment that I went through, and so many others did, by the way. I can only talk for myself, though, that I had, 4 years ago when Brendan left, before, the league was even decided where it was going to go and things like this. Let's go through the comments I had in the community page. Pam said, first and foremost, after Bhoycie's stunt yesterday, I don't know what to think. I was having a wee bit of fun. Comparing Tony Ralston potentially leaving to Ange. I just didn't name drop till the end. Ryan Taylor said he thinks that Ange gave it away though last week. He felt after the game, he said one more game for the final, whereas last year he said we will come back bigger, stronger after the final league fixture. I fear it's happening after the cup final, as Spurs has given us the respect Leicester didn't. I hope I'm wrong, obviously. Ryan, I mean, again, it is a bit of speculation on your part there, but you're right to have the fears that it could happen. I think the one thing that we need to take on board as well is the stories today. We can't really accuse it of being one of the other go-to arguments I think a lot of us like to use when it's a story we don't particularly want to entertain, and that is it's mischief making by the media. But I don't think Spurs Extra and other sites like that have a dog in this fight at the weekend between Inverness, Cali and Celtic. So I struggle to see why Spurs fan media outlets, Sky Sports, etc., would really be trying to upset Celtic going into a Scottish Cup final with Inverness. I think if it was just the Daily Record, Football Scotland, things like this, maybe we could make an argument that look at them trying to upset the apple cart. For me, though, when you look at the sources today, it does feel a wee bit different. And I think it would be remiss to think that these guys are trying to stir the pot in any way, shape or form. Ironically, Spurs have some campaign going on Twitter, no to Ange, no to Postecoglou. And I've got to be honest, that I wasn't as far as that, but I was underwhelmed when he was appointed Celtic manager. I couldn't believe it. And now it's so funny watching that from the other side. Like, not that he's been appointed or anything, but the second he's been rumoured, and they all feel underwhelmed, or they feel like this is a real step down for Spurs. I mean, calm right down. And it's interesting because, to be fair, I think I was in that space, and not because I want him to get the job, but if I was giving any advice to any Spurs fans, it would be, I've been in those shoes. I was one of the only people vocal about it on Celtic podcasts at the time, and it bit me big time on the arse. Rest assured, it did. We'll have a wee look at some of the other comments that have come flying in. John Puskard coming earlier, and he was saying it's hard to say He knows Ange likes a project and Spurs needs someone with a vision. Who knows? He hopes he stays. I get that, mate. Who does know? No one knows. The stories have gathered pace today, and that's why I thought it would be okay to jump on. Chris M. Question is, if he does go, who comes in? And it better not be JK, as in John Kennedy. A lot of jokes about Neil Lennon. Roy Keane, anyone? Good fun with that. A couple of years ago, I had a lot of good fun. In fact, I was it was christened the Bhoycie Bus by you know who. He called it. He said, "Are you on the Keane bus? Are you on the Bhoycie Bus?" That was only a couple of summers ago. So yeah, I don't think Roy Keane's realistic now. I think Celtic's moved into a different space now. Where we would have someone like that. But yeah, I mean, right now, with fingers crossed, but it's no one, and it just carries on being Ange Postecoglou, of course. But we're going to naturally now, when everyone's just a wee bit all over the place, we're going to start getting ahead of ourselves and linking names and thinking who'd be the best option. Just having a wee look here. Jim C was in the community page earlier. I don't know if he's in the live chat or Jim, and he's saying, doesn't look good for us. The big man has never distanced himself from it. He felt on Saturday he would have said something like, "I'm going nowhere." Sadly for us, he didn't. I think he'll be gone on Monday. Jeez, oh, Jim. You're killing me. You're killing me, Jim. That's one negative way. Charles Smith is the other side of the coin. He says, like I was alluding to earlier, always get this crap before we go to a final or a big game. He's not going. Let's go to the live chat. Now, I'm going to put a wee question to you right now. If this were true, hypothetically, what then next in terms of Celtic's strategy? Will we go big on the next appointment? Do you think Celtic have one lined up? And do you think it would be something that would lead to still quite a smooth summer? Because this is obviously very, very early. This is just me playing. We're getting ahead of ourselves, like I say. I'm not saying he's definitely going to go, and I'll keep repeating that throughout the show because it's important to do that sometimes. However, if we were to, would it be best that we lost him, say by the 5th of June, and we had all summer? And do you think Celtic have got their house in order where there is contingency plans if Ange were to leave? Glasgow CSC, in the meantime, he's saying he wonders what that meeting with Desmond Ange explain he planned on having talks with Spurs. I mean, I don't know what that meeting was about. It's weird. It's a weird one. JG, John Terry. You should feel guilty, mate. That's crazy. Although I think he is a Celtic fan. Or one of those kind of Celtic fans. You know what I mean? You get those. Well, Tattoo Face, this is why I'm asking, mate. It's a brilliant point. Nothing changes if he goes except someone hops into the driving seat. Similar to Ange as possible, and puts the foot right back on that pedal. Lovely thought, Tattoo Face. Again, like I was touching on at the start of the show, once bitten, twice shy. I think we need to be honest with ourselves and say, do you think this Celtic board will have their house in order and contingency plans that make it as smooth as you're describing there? I'll be honest, 2 years ago I watched a huge group of our fans outside the ground. Lockdown was going on, but they didn't care. They wanted to protest, not just against the manager, but they wanted to protest against the board. And it was a different number of days, remember, going up. They had sacked the board. They ended up, and they went and sacked Lawwell. That was the other one. You'll get Lawwell out and sack the board, because everyone had lost faith that these guys knew what they were doing. Ange comes in, all that narrative changes, and in fact, what the board did was play musical chairs, elevate Lawwell to being the only guy in the building with chairman in his title, and you've now got 2 Lawwells, not 1. It'll be interesting to see if we are prepared for this. John Dal Thomason says Brownmore. I think he'd be popular for that press conference thing. I hear he might be leaving Blackburn. I was watching a podcast with Tim Sherwood and Neil Lennon earlier on, And I think that job either is available or could become available. So that would mean he departed there. I mean, I don't know. We're getting so far ahead of ourselves. It's crazy. Um, Chunks, you didn't buy it for Brown. You bought it for Scott Howe. Scott Howe, you got it, mate. It was him who won it. Um, yeah, I mean, it was Champions League beckons. Angel Stacey's Frank Hewitt. And this is the thing. What we've got to remember here, either way, is from the state Celtic were in 2 years ago to where they are now. And I think Ange deserves a lot of credit for that off field as well. But this is how you're offering or pitching this job to someone. You're going, come join us. We literally check our last accounts. We've literally got you straight into the group stage of the Champions League. You've got all three domestic trophies. There is, whether we like to admit it or not, a reasonable challenge from across the city, not the Graham Murty times and Pedro Cachina times. There is a challenge that I think we can. I'm not going to respect it, no. Can't respect it. But there is a challenge of some sort of substance, I think, going to come at us next year. And that, again, should tick. We've got a trip to go to Japan and South Korea. These things should be, whet the appetite of a lot of managers. And we've got a young, vibrant squad on long-term deals that are real assets that if you were to sell one, you get a big chunk of change for. This job, to me, this maybe plays into why Ange might want to stay. But if he were to be leaving, and I think there is a bit of this is different for Leicester City coming in. I mean, Spurs is a different ball game, albeit they're bottling bastards and they kid on they're a massive club and they are just Spurs. But I do still think when you look at the stadium, the riches that they've got, some of the players they've got in that squad already. I mean, I do think they are over a wee bit, of a different level from most Premier League clubs that would come in for a manager from Celtic. However, notwithstanding that, if Andrew had to be persuaded to stay, it would be those reasons that I just gave there. But if he were to leave, then I think the reasons I've explained there should make the job extremely sellable. But yeah, it'd be odd being in the group stage of the Champions League and turning that opportunity down. I don't think Spurs are in Europe. That would be odd as well. But we know money talks as well. And I think what we also need to remember with the EPL is where all managers want to operate. Pep Guardiola could not wait to get to the EPL. For example, and that's as big an example as you can get. Jose Mourinho could not wait to get to the EPL, could not wait to get back to the EPL from Real Madrid. He probably can't wait to get back again just now. Do you know what I mean? We need to be honest with stuff like that. But D-Mac comes in and he wants to offer us some hope. D-Mac, I hope you're well, my friend. He says, I'm not in the least bit concerned. Ange will not move until he's had another stab at this Champions League with us. D-Mac reckons he's going to sign a 4-year deal with Celtic next week. Spurs are looking at other names. D-Mac, I like this, mate. And I hope you're right. I mean, that would be fantastic. And what a relief. Brown Warrior, Spurs might give the bold an offer they can't refuse for Ange. Russell, it comes down to whether he wants that challenge and money at Spurs. Spurs don't really need to make much of an offer, Brown. I think they just need to pay up a year if he's on a rolling deal, is he not? Which renews every day. So he's got 12 months on it. I think the compensation would be negligible, to be honest with you. I don't think that would be one of the problem. Yeah, I mean, in comes JG, and he's saying again, 10 million a year is a problem, though. If we're up against it, that it could be close, then you might want Euro Glory was, then Liverpool. Yeah, I mean, you don't roadmap in your career to go Celtic then to Liverpool, though. It's pretty bold, like, do you know what I mean? Usually, I think if you were going to get an opportunity at the likes of a Spurs, you would probably, if that was to be the pathway that you were wanting to occur, I think you would need to, you would to do it direct Celtic to Liverpool. It doesn't happen often these days. John McFarlane, I'm not ready to say goodbye to Angie. Me neither. Me neither, John. I agree with you, mate. I absolutely agree. Yeah. I mean, And that's a good point as well. He's not a young manager, and he's at a stage in his career when he gets opportunities, he might have to look at them slightly differently. In fact, they'll look at it anyway. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? Aye, let's make Frank Lampard, Paul, the reference point for Ange. Why don't we do that? We'll get you get him to explain to him it's an absolute minefield and he'll hate it. That is definitely fair. What a blow if to the Rangers if he turns it down and stays. Yeah, I think they're undeniably between their guys in the media. I mean, I think tonight it was that goalie. What's his name? Cammy Bell. And you could almost hear him excited when he was talking about it. Like he's definitely wishing Ange away, and I would imagine that will definitely not. Brian McGarry says, "Listen to what the man says, not these clowns that want him gone." I mean, Brian, this is where I'll come down to it again. It's Spurs fan media who don't want Ange that are reporting it. So try and square that circle. It's not just about people. These stories emanated today from London and from a fan base that, on the whole, don't want Ange. So they're not reporting it, trying to get Ange, or for an anti-Celtic point of view. We need to look at this. Is why the story's gathered so much pace today, because there's no longer rumours in Scotland. I think that's what the big change has been. Ian McIntosh, Ange's stock is high at the moment. That's the only worry for me. Any drop off for him next season, and the offers can stop, and football managers know the importance of timing. And I think you're just being honest, Ian. It's just being realistic. I certainly would hope tomorrow. Will Ange be doing the presser tomorrow for Saturday? It's possible. And if he is, it'll be interesting to see if he comes out swinging or if we have more questions than answers. That is 8 o'clock. I'm going to go watch Europa League final. It is Sevilla against Jose Mourinho. Neither of them have ever lost a European final. It should be fun. I will let you go. Enjoy your night. It was just a wee impromptu one, just to get a few of your thoughts on the current affairs and what a mad day it has been. I will be back on the bus tomorrow. Steve O'Matt will be hosting the TNF. That is the open forum. I'm pretty sure what story is going to be dominating it. And it'll just be a night of reading out all your comments from start to finish. So do please keep sending in your brilliant comments. And we will see you all back on the bus tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Ange, come on. One more year.